10 News begins with breaking news.
An aggressive attack happening right now on a wind-driven brush fire that's burning in the East County. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. This is breaking news we've been on top of for the last 60 minutes now. CAL FIRE says that fire is 150 acres southeast of the Sycuan Casino Resort in the Dehesa area. 10 News reporter Derek Stahl is monitoring this firefight. And Derek, homes nearby have been evacuated.
Yeah, that's right. That's just coming into the live center just moments ago. A handful of homes is what they're saying at this point. Take a look at the aerial view from Sky 10. These evacuations are along Sycuan Truck Trail and Hapatool Road. No exact number yet on the number of homes that have been evacuated. They are just saying a handful. Now, if we look at the breaking news tracker, we've got sort of crews in the air and crews on the ground, and I'm seeing a bit of flames actually pop up right now in addition to all of the smoke. Right now at this point, firefighters are saying that wind is a major factor, but the flames are burning away from Sycuan Casino. So obviously that's a bit of good news. They're a major area with a lot of folks over there. 10 News reporter Matt Boone is along the fire lines and has this report.
Yeah, from back here you can see where this fire began. It looks like it started over in this canyon. We're just off of Sloan Canyon Road on the backside of the Sycuan Casino. Firefighters have made their way onto the hill. This is very difficult firefighting terrain. We've also seen some airdrops over on this side as well. You can actually see where this fire spread, the dark part of the hillside, the charred part, and there's still around the edges active fire scenes as this continues to kind of move in a northeasterly direction over the hills. A lot of the smoke now is white. That seems to be a good sign. There's some pink on the ground where they've been able to drop that fire retardant and make somewhat of a hard edge, but there's definitely a lot of fire still moving, mostly up the ridges. You can see where those black plumes of smoke are coming. Lots of firefighters making their way through this area, trying to cut this off before it gets too big. There is some wind conditions, but thankfully it's not too strong. So really what the firefighters are dealing with are just the difficult conditions. But once again, lots of aerial units as we've seen coming by, but some of these places are actually hard for them to come in at the right angle given the steep canyons and the low altitude that they have to get to in some of these areas. Once again, this is off Sloan Canyon, and this is right behind the Sycuan Casino. So the flames are actually moving up and over the ridge towards that area as firefighters move to stop the spread of the fire. Reporting in Dehesa, Matt Boone, 10 News.
And we're experiencing some mild Santa Ana winds and lower humidity levels.
Our meteorologist Angelica Campos is tracking the dangerous fire conditions tonight. Angelica.
Yeah, dangerous indeed. We made that shift last night into this morning. It dried things out. It warmed temperatures up. So we're talking about hot temperatures, low humidity, and wind gusts, which at this hour are being reported at 13 miles per hour. The steady wind flow is only at 7, and conditions are much better than they were earlier this afternoon when we had gusts over 25 and 30 miles per hour. So that is good news. But all around the county, we'll continue to keep that elevated fire danger in place for today. We're talking about relative humidity in the teens in Warner Springs. In Mount Laguna, only 5%. And of course, with the heat in place, that also makes it challenging for firefighters. As far as the winds, they will continue to die down into the evening, but at this hour, they could still average from 15 to up to 20 miles per hour. That in itself makes it very challenging. The temperatures will cool down just a little bit for tomorrow, and we're also tracking another round of big changes for tomorrow, possible showers and even thunderstorms in the forecast.
All right, thank you, Angelica. And you can keep track of the weather conditions and the firefight on our free 10 News mobile app. To download it, just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
The actions taken to date by the president have seriously violated the Constitution.
President Trump facing a growing threat for impeachment.
I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
Today's move setting up a dramatic clash just over a year before the presidential election.
President Trump is fighting back and accusing Democrats of another witch hunt.
Nancy Pelosi's announcement comes over a whistleblower complaint related to the president's interaction with a foreign leader. ABC's Mona Kassar Abdi is in Washington with these breaking details.
New tonight, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calling for impeachment.
The actions taken to date by the president have seriously violated the Constitution. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
Pelosi, who previously said the move would be too divisive, now on board following new reports about the president's controversial July 25th call with Ukraine's president, in which he encouraged the country's leader to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden.
What Joe Biden did for his son, that's something they should be looking at.
According to the Washington Post, days before that call, Trump ordered $400 million in military aid withheld from Ukraine. President Trump confirmed he did withhold funds, but says it was because Europe wasn't contributing enough.
And by the way, we paid that money. But I always ask, why aren't other countries, in Europe especially, putting up money for Ukraine?
Then today, Trump taking to Twitter to announce he has, quote, authorized the release tomorrow of the complete, fully declassified and unredacted transcript of my phone conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine. For many Democrats, the revelations about the call and the whistleblower complaint was a tipping point. Over the last 24 hours, a wave of party members have come out in support of launching a formal inquiry against President Trump.
I truly believe the time to begin impeachment proceedings against this president has come.
President Trump and the House top Republican Kevin McCarthy accusing Democrats of playing politics with the impeachment inquiry.
Our job is to legislate, not to continue to investigate something in the back when you cannot find any reason to impeach this president.
It's a witch hunt. I'm leading in the polls. They have no idea how they stop me.
Also new tonight, the entire U.S. Senate has passed a non-binding resolution calling on the Trump administration to release the secret whistleblower complaint to congressional intelligence committees. Mona Kosar-Abdi, ABC News, Washington.
All right, joining us now to talk about this development is Casey Dominguez, a political science professor at USD.
Casey, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
appreciate your insight. There have been impeachment talks before. What forced Nancy Pelosi's hand now?
Well, I think the new details that were revealed about these questions about Ukraine and the phone call, I think prompted first these 7 House Democrats from vulnerable districts to write an op-ed in the New York Times yesterday, and that seems to have precipitated all of the events today. That led a cascade of of Democrats in the House to come out for impeachment during the course of the day today. And so it seems like that was a reaction from some of the people that Nancy Pelosi was worried about in her caucus, and if they felt like this was something that was really serious, then that's what's going forward.
You've talked about this earlier, about momentum. This seems to have momentum. So what happens next?
So impeachment, as everybody remembers, is for the House of Representatives to bring a formal charge against the president. And then the Senate would go ahead and do a trial to see whether he was removed from office. But in the first step that has to happen is for the House of Representatives, and especially the Judiciary Committee, informed by the other investigatory committees in the House, to come up with what those charges would be. Like what they have to charge him with something specific. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the House of Representatives and what the Democrats and what the Judiciary Committee will be doing now.
This is obviously about Ukraine, but I'm sure a lot of people wondering if Russia, the Mueller report, will that get brought into these proceedings?
Well, that will be up to the Judiciary Committee in the House and to the Democrats in the House, and any Republicans who want input on that process would be to craft those, whatever the impeachment charges are. It very well could be that some of the allegations of obstruction of justice or abuse of power that were in the Mueller report could make it into an impeachment process once it gets going.
Professor Casey Dominguez, thank you for your time and your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So much to play out here.
Meanwhile, President Trump is in New York for the annual gathering of world leaders at the United Nations. In his speech today, he tried to balance his America First doctrine with looking to increase support from allies for action against Iran.
All nations have a duty to act. No responsible government should subsidize Iran's bloodlust.
The president also spoke about the need to deal with China, accusing that country of gaming the world economic system. Other world leaders today spoke about making a global push on gun control. President Trump said the U.S. would not participate.
New developments in the case against a DUI driver who killed a Lyft passenger. Prosecutors say that Alondra Marquez was more than 3 times the legal limit and going more than 100 miles an hour when she slammed into the back of a car on the 163 near Balboa Park. This was back in March. Our reporter Rachel Bianco joins us on this story. And Rachel, the victim's family and friends, they got to confront her today with gut-wrenching testimony.
Yeah, that's right. The courtroom was packed with people who flew in from San Francisco. The defendant and the victims were actually at the same bar the night of the crash, but the defendant chose to drive, and it was the victims who took a lift home. The outcome shattered several families. Now take a look inside court. Marquez stood behind the glass showing little reaction as one by one friends and family of the victims called her a murderer. Prosecutors say she was more than 3 times the legal limit when she slammed into the back of a lift car on the 163 near Balboa Park. Zhao Pham was killed. His friend, Andy Lin, survived but has a traumatic brain injury. The two were in town for a wedding. 13 people shared their memories of their loved ones before this crash happened, but the most powerful words came from Pham's partner.
We were together for almost 11 years until your actions that night took my partner, my world, my everything. But you still don't have no remorse in your heart. You are very shallow, aren't you? You're a very shallow person, aren't you? Then show remorse. Show that you care. Show that you care and that you have a heart. Your actions have said others. I don't care to know you. The only reason why I do know you is because you murdered my partner.
Coming up at 7 o'clock, Marquez will address the court. She pleaded guilty. The maximum she faces is 13 years and 4 months when she is sentenced next Wednesday. Reporting live downtown, Rachel Bianco, 10 News.
Right now, we're optimistic, but we're still cautious. We need to be ready for anything.
Victims are breathing a sigh of relief after learning the bolder-than-most rapist will stay locked up for a bit longer. Earlier this summer, a judge approved the conditional release of Albin Quarles. Last night, a California appeals court agreed to stay the decision. 10 News reporter Mackenzie Maynard talked with a survivor who got word of the ruling.
We've been hopeful in the past, but this is actually a court saying, wait a minute. Let's take a look at this.
As a survivor, Taylor doesn't want to see the day Albin Quarles is released, but back in June, that day looked closer than ever before.
I was not expecting to have any concerns at all about him until the year 2039 when he would be released.
In June 2019, a judge approved the release of Quarles. Up until this week, things are moving forward as the search for a place to release him in San Diego County continued. Monday afternoon, Taylor got a call saying everything had stopped. The district attorney filed for a writ. It's similar to an appeal. The California Appeals Court issued a stay, which means all progress towards finding Quarles a location has stopped and cannot continue again until the courts resolve it.
It did seem that we had a situation where the evidence seemed to be so compelling that the wrong decision had been made.
In the meantime, Quarles will stay at the Coalinga State Hospital getting treatment through a program for sexually violent predators. Reporting, Mackenzie Maynard, 10 News.
Now, the next scheduled hearing in the lower court is still set for early December, but because of the stay, the Court of Appeal prevents the Superior Court from releasing him until a decision is made.
Water is finally back on for dozens of families after a water main break flooded an Escondido neighborhood early this morning. 4 homes were flooded along with West 7th Avenue. The water also opened up a sinkhole, and one woman watched her car slowly fall in. Several homeowners tell us they plan to file claims with the city to pay for those damages. Where crews say they hope to have the road reopened by about 8 o'clock tonight.